What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Married at First Sight, Season 18, Episode 6, Never Forget About Carla. Y'all, let's talk about Imam and Echi. Imam and Echi, it's slowly dying. It's slowly dying. This relationship is going through a very slow and painful death. It's slowly dying. And the one who is killing it is Echi. He is draining the life out of this relationship. He's draining the life out of Imam. First of all, I want to start off by saying this. I've seen this quite a bit on Married at First Sight, where a woman will start off very exciting, very vibrant, funny, fun, the life of the party, has a lot of energy in her. And then as the process continues, she begins to, it's like, it's like the life is being drained out of her. Like this process or this relationship is draining the life out of her. And I'm beginning to see it in Imam, and they're still, they just left the honeymoon. We're still in the very, very early stages of this. And I'm already seeing the life draining out of Imam. Because when we first met Imam, she was so full of life. She was so full of life. She was funny. She was like activated. She was exciting. She was like the life of the party. And I think I even described her as such. Now that she's been dealing with Echi, it's like her light is slowly beginning to dim, as if this process or this man is like draining the life out of her. She is not the same Imam. And every time that she smiles, she's got a beautiful smile. She's got beautiful teeth. Every time that she smiles, it almost looks like it's painful for her to smile. Like she's tired of having to put up this front with this man and expend this fake energy with this man, because I don't think that they're really connecting on a romantic level. I think as far as the friendship, they got that. They have really good banter with one another. They do have a good time with each other. And I think they really do enjoy each other's company. But I don't think that there's like a romantic connection. I don't think that Echi is really interested in having a lifelong commitment with Imam. I seriously doubt it. I highly doubt it. I think Echi is here for clout. I think he's here to promote whatever the hell he's trying to promote. That's why he's been chasing this show down cross country, because he wants that exposure. Um, I don't think there's anybody else on this cast that I know anything about how many people are following them on their social media platforms. But I do know that a lot of people are following Echi because that is something that his family had mentioned to Imam. That he's got a big social media following. And because the question was, when she had brunch with his family, it was either last week or 2 weeks ago, they were like, how do you feel about the fact that he's got this huge platform and has this huge following, and women are going to be coming into his DMs and whatnot. And so I think this is why he's here. The fact that his family mentioned a social media platform makes me think that this must be important to Echi. Anywho, let's get into what I really want to talk about. Another thing that I want to say about Echi, he's the kind of person that when he asks a question, he's not asking a question to learn or to get to know you better. It's just a gateway for him to talk about himself. Like, for example, I'm not saying this is what he asked her literally verbatim. I'm just going to throw something out there, for example. Like, if you were to ask her, so what was your childhood like? And she'll explain. And then instead of him like, having her expound on that or adding to that, or using like follow-up questions to get to know her better, he'll completely dismiss her answer and just start talking about himself. Well, my childhood was like, that's the only reason why he'll ask a question, because it's probably awkward and narcissistic to just start talking about yourself out of the blue. So he'll do it through asking her a question, let her answer, and then he immediately starts talking about himself. So that lets me know that he's not really interested in getting to know her. When they had the group dinner, Imam says that it's been great and that they've been enjoying their time. So they're always putting up a very positive front, because on this show, I think whenever the couples are all together as a group, they always want to like one up each other. They want to prove to the other couples that, hey, we're doing well. The experts did a great job in matching us, except for people who obviously can't hide it, like David and Michelle. But for the most part, a lot of them try to make it look like that everything is going hunky dory when it really isn't. Um, and then what else? So, Akechi talked about this was something that shocked me. So when they're at the group dinner, he had brought up intimacy, and he said that he's not ready to be intimate with the men. That will come whenever it comes, but like right now, he's not going to do that. They're not going to do that. He's not interested in that. And I was like, did Imam know this before you told the whole group? Like, why? Excuse me, why are you bringing this up in front of everybody else? That's a very personal conversation that you need to have with your wife and not in front of everybody else. I'm really curious. Was Imam blindsided by this information, or did he just decide to, spring this up on her in front of everybody else? And Imam didn't have an answer. She really didn't say anything. And I thought that was just really odd for him to bring up in front of everybody else before he even talked about it with her, which I don't think he did. So then later on, they go to bed, and this is the meat and potatoes of it all. They go to bed, and there's like a honey packet in the bed with them. And so she opens it up, and I think she starts like sucking the honey out of this packet. I don't know what the hell a honey packet is. I'm assuming it's something to like sweeten your tea or something. I don't know. So she starts sucking on the honey, and I felt like she was kind of giving off seductive vibes. Like she was kind of like giving him the green light that, hey, if you're with it, I'm with it too. That's what I felt like. And he knew that because he kind of played into it, and then he rejected her. So she's sucking on the honey, and he says something like, well, do you know what I want you to do? And I guess she said, what? And he said, turn off that light so we can go to bed. And then he turned his back towards her, and that was it. He was out. Not interested in talking, not interested in anything else. He was out. And if I was her, I would have given him my back. I would have turned my back towards him and gone to sleep. But she instead turned towards him and she spooned him. And that let me know that she was still seeking some type of physical connection with him, because she could have very easily scooched over to the other side of the damn bed and turned her back towards him. But instead, she got closer to him and she spooned him. After he said in front of everybody that he's not interested in being intimate with her. After he said that. And so I was just like, I don't know. He's not interested in her. Ikechi's not interested in Imam. I don't know how Imam is feeling about him for real, for real. I feel, like I said, I feel like her light is slowly beginning to dim. I feel like, the energy and the life is being sucked out of her. She's not the same Imam that we met, which is kind of scary because we're still in the very early stages of this process. And I feel like she's already changing. And Imam has such a beautiful smile. She's got gorgeous teeth. But now I feel like whenever she's smiling, it's like she's smiling out of pain or something. It's not like a genuine smile showing how happy she is. It's like she's just trying to, I don't know, appease this man or something. Yeah, I don't know, but I don't really see it working out for Imam and Echi. I think Echi is here for clout. I think he's here to promote his books, his poetry, his whatever else, his social media platform. I don't think Echi is here for the right reasons, like to really find a connection with this woman and to make her a lifelong partner and to build something out with her. I don't think so. Let's move on to Camille and Thomas. Oh my goodness, Camille and Thomas. So they're getting ready for the day. I think this was after their salsa lessons. They're getting ready for the day, and he put on a shirt and shorts, or a shirt and pants or something. And she tells us that Thomas's style is more suburban than city. She said city, but we know she meant urban. So right there, I was like, okay, here we go. Thomas tells us, so there's a scene where he is talking, he's outside of their room and he's talking into the camera, and Camille is like wandering back and forth in the background or something, I don't know. And he tells us that Camille thinks he's not black enough. So we weren't privy to that conversation. So we don't know the full context of that conversation. But Thomas says that they were in the room talking, and she tells him that he's not black enough. Compared to the other guys that she's dated in the past, he's just not black enough. And so that made him feel some kind of way. So I guess that's when he came outside, to talk to us and say that it hurt his feelings when she said that. It offended him. This is something he's been struggling with all of his life, being told that he wasn't black enough. He is biracial. And so, he just always this has been a struggle for him. I guess people made fun of him for not being black enough or for being the mixed kid. He got picked on for that, and he's heard this before from other women. Other women have told him the same thing, and it's something he struggles with. Which the ironic thing about it is that Camille is not that different from Thomas. They're both biracial. They both, to me, talk and act the same. They're like mirror images of each other, but one in male form, the other in female form. They're exactly alike to me. So for her to tell him that he's not black enough, like, what does she think? How does she think she's coming off? Do you think she's coming off like she's Sexy Red or Shaniqua from the block or something? Like, how does she think she's coming across? To me, her mannerisms and the way she talks and her whole demeanor is very similar to Thomas. Like, how dare you question him on his blackness, especially when this man is specifically looking for a black wife? Like, how dare you question that? How dare you tell him he's not black enough? Compared to who? Compared to what? Where is the measurement system of how someone is black enough? Like, I'm not understanding, because black people are not monolithic. Okay, not all black people are going to be, gangster or like, Megan the Stallion. Black people come in a variety of forms and variety of flavors, variety of swag. It's not always going to be the same. It's not cookie cutter. So when she said he's not black enough, compared to who? Compared to what, Camille? Like, what are you saying? Like, I'm not understanding what you're talking about, that he's not black enough. And at the after party, she said they played that clip of him talking about how it hurt his feelings that she said that. And it's something that he's heard his whole entire life, that he struggled with. But he understands, and I'm glad he said this. He understands and he knows he doesn't have to prove a damn thing to anybody. So when she saw that at the after party, when she saw that clip, she felt bad, as she should, as she should. She felt bad that she said that to him, because that really hurt that man. You know, Black people in America have a lot of pride in our culture and who we are as Black, because the struggle has been very real, and the struggle still continues. And so we're constantly, it's like people don't understand, how could we be so proud to be who we are as a people? And so when someone is questioning you for your blackness, it's offensive. It's extremely offensive, especially since he's here looking for a black wife. He's not like your boy over there, David, who is biracial, just like Thomas is. David is biracial as well, but he ain't interested in no black woman. He's interested in a blonde haired, blue eyed woman. He wants a Caucasian woman. He specifically said that. Whereas Thomas has dated black women, is open to marrying a black woman. It seems like he's interested in Camille. So it was a really sweet scene when they came back from the group dinner and he told her to wait outside of their room because he wanted to go inside. He wanted to decorate the room with the roses. Unfortunately, we found out at the after party from Camille that the rose petals brought in ants. But he wanted to decorate the room for her, make it very romantic. And I guess he was expecting like a romantic night with her, but instead, when she changed into her pajamas, she didn't come out with her lingerie. She came out in like an oversized purple t-shirt, and then she pecked him on the lips and she's like, okay, good night. And we know later on, because we've seen the teaser in a future episode, where she says he doesn't have enough swag. So Camille wants that thug appeal. She wants that thug passion. She wants an aggressive type of man, probably, who will take control of the situation. And Thomas obviously is not that, right? He's not that kind of guy, because he's very respectful. He doesn't want to overstep his boundaries. So he does these little things to test her out, to see if she's going to match his energy or react to the things that he's trying to do in a romantic way. And I guess Camille is used to the guys that just, put their hands on your throat and pull you in and, make it do what it do, whether, I don't know. So I was offended by her saying that to him, because he's a really nice guy. And I was like, what are these women looking for? Like, what the hell do you want? This man's a good guy. He's a decent guy. But because he doesn't fit that urban, cookie cutter, whatever that you're used to. But I'm glad she understood that her saying that was hurtful to him, and that maybe she should not have said that to him. When I looked on X, people were saying that, Thomas is lame, and Thomas is he doesn't have any game, and he's so square, and Thomas is who he is. Thomas is who he is. It doesn't have to be anybody else than who he is. And he tried. He made a romantic gesture. Unfortunately, it failed, but he can only be him. Let's move on to Michael and David. So this was a somewhat positive episode for Michael and David, somewhat, because Michael and David, Michelle and David, because Michelle actually made a conscious decision to try to make the best of it. Even though it's towards the end, they're about to go back to Chicago. She came to the realization that, hey, I want to stay on the show for whatever reason. Okay, she ain't down with him at all. She doesn't like him. She is not attracted to him. At the after party, though, she did say a lot of positive things about him. She did point out or highlight some of his positive attributes. But of course, I don't know when this after party is recorded, how far into the future it is, how much has happened between them. But from what we've seen so far, this woman is not interested in this man whatsoever. But she's like, okay, I'm just going to make the best of it. So they go paddle boarding. They go paddle boarding. They make sushi together. He says sushi is not his thing. He didn't want it raw. I think they did have raw sushi, but he was really not interested in having raw sushi. It's just not his thing at all. But he made an effort. He was making the sushi. He ate the sushi. It really wasn't his thing. And instead of her like saying, oh, wow, I understand that you really don't like this, but you're making an effort and I appreciate that. She criticized him saying like, oh, he's gonna always, what did she say about him? That he's always gonna stay in his comfort zone. And he's not gonna venture too far away from that. So as we're eating the sushi, she tells him that he's cussing too much and she wants him to reel it back a little bit. At the after party, she talked about her background, and I completely zoned out. I think I even rewinded it to try to hear again, and I zoned out again. So I don't know what she said about her background, but something, however she was brought up, whatever she was going through as a child, has a lot to do with the way she is now. So I guess that's great that she explained that, but I don't remember what she said. So at the group dinner, they talk about how they're getting along much better. Michelle says that this isn't the marriage that she envisioned, but she appreciates him sticking through with it. Yeah, because he's here for the right reasons. He's here because he wants a wife, so he's going to stick through it. And they gave him exactly what he wanted. Michelle and David is kind of like Married at First Sight, the show. The producers or whatever, or the experts, are like kind of giving us the big FU in a way, through Michelle and David, because people have talked a lot about, maybe it's just me talking about it, I don't know, but it's been said that, maybe they should try to take attraction into consideration. Like if a person says they want something specific in the physicality of their partner, the experts or the casting people, whoever is choosing these people, should take that into consideration. And the whole premise of Married at First Sight is to take the physical out of it, and you're going to be matched with people based on a much deeper level that's got really nothing to do with looks. And so I've always said they should try that. Not like make it the premise of the show, but they should try that. If someone says they want something specifically in how their partner looks, they should try that to see if it's going to work. And I think Married at First Sight, they don't believe in that, but they're giving that to us, and Michelle and David. And it's like them saying, see, we told you, if we give them what they want physically, it's not going to work out. If they're going to match, basically on, what they wanted physically, it's not going to work out. Because Michelle said she wanted a light-skinned black guy with beard and tats. That's exactly what she got. And he said he wanted a blonde hair, blue-eyed woman, and that's exactly what he got. But then they can't get along, and she can't stand him. So before they leave Mexico, they talk about their living arrangements, and she tells him, look, we're about to go back to Chicago. Real life is about to set in, and I want you to know that I do not want to share a bedroom with you. And he was like, can I ask why not? And she said, well, I don't feel a connection. I don't feel a connection with you, so I don't want to share a bedroom with you. So go home, Michelle. Go home. Go home. You're going to sleep by yourself either way, so just go home. Like, I don't understand. At the after party, she said that when they were in Mexico, they didn't share a bed, so why would they share a bed in Chicago? They only had, when, who was it? When Allan and Michelle, when they were on the after party, was it Allan and Michelle? I don't know who it was, but when Michelle was on there, they also had Laterra. I forgot his last name. He's the host of My Future Wifey, Dear Wifey, or my Dear Future, I think it's called Dear Future Wifey podcast. He's the one that's kind of got into the mix with the whole drama involving Love is Blind, um, Tyler and Ashley. Anyways, so Laterras, I loved this man on that stage, on that panel. He gave some great advice. So they asked him, I think, well, what do you think about Michelle saying that she doesn't want to share a bed with David when they go back home to Chicago? And Latera said, I think she needs to lean into the process. She needs to experience all that she is supposed to experience in this process, because once you start doing the whole, I'm not going to share a bed, I'm not going to share a room, I'm not going to share an apartment with you, it's over. It is dead in the water. It is not going to work out. And you will never know what could have been. So I love that's, and I agree with Lateris. She should lean into the process, do all the things that you are supposed to do, and stop being such a, let's just say, negative Nancy. On the plane ride back to Chicago, she didn't even want to sit next to him. Michelle, please go home. Oh, on the after party, she looked a lot thinner. Looked like she lost probably a good 10 to 15 pounds, and maybe more. She looked good. Okay, she looked good. I don't want to use the word thin in a derogatory type of way. She looked good, and she lost weight, and I don't know, she seemed so much happier and so much lighter. She was joking around. She was actually pleasant on the after party. And so I don't know if she ended up going back home and that's why she's so happy. I don't know. I don't know if things took a turn for the better between her and David. I have no idea what happened, but she seemed so much happier. Carla and Juan. So they're having a beachside dinner, and they for sure don't need salsa lessons. Camille and Thomas needed some damn salsa lessons, but Juan and Carla did not need it because they kind of did like a little salsa dance before they sat down to eat. Yeah, they were grooving. It looked really natural. Juan is growing on me. So they sit down for dinner. They talk about what they did that day. And Juan talks about how he spent his day with David, because David needs, he needs a buddy. His wife doesn't want nothing to do with him. And so he's going through it. And so Juan was able to go spend time with David. They went to go work out together, probably, spend some time together, talk about things and whatever. So they're building this friendship. And he tells Carla, what did he tell her? I want to get this exactly right. He said that he forgot that she was even there. And so Carla did not like that. And so instead of her using her words like an adult and expressing to him, well, I can't believe that you would say that to me. I'm offended by that. I'm your wife. This is our honeymoon. How can you say that you forgot about me? So instead of having a discussion about that, what she does instead is she took his bag. So when they were packing up, he had no bag. His bag was gone because she took it or something. And so he had to put his clothes in a trash can. I'm sorry, in a trash bag. And they went to breakfast. She didn't want to sit with them at breakfast. So he had to eat by himself. And then I don't know, he lost his bag of clothes, because this was talked about in the after party. He lost his bag of clothes or something. Maybe somebody thought it was trash and put it in the dumpster. I don't know. He couldn't find his bag of clothes. So he spent the majority of the morning trying to find his trash bag full of clothes. And it was a whole thing. But anyway, so instead of her expressing to him, it hurts my feelings that you're saying that to me, and them talking about that, she decided to hide his bag. She decided to be grumpy at their photo shoot, because later on they had a photo shoot. She was going to be grumpy and, be in a bad mood. Eventually, she did come back around, because the photo shoot required her to do some things that she really wasn't comfortable with, like going underwater. And so he was able to kind of like help her with that and talk her through that. And, when it was time for her to go underneath the water for them to take the picture, he told her, take a deep breath and I will, go down with you. And so they did that. And so she really did appreciate how he was very supportive and how he was, helping her through that. So she eventually did lighten up a little bit during the photo shoot, and the pictures were gorgeous. So when they go back into the room, they're talking about, this is their last day in Mexico, and they're talking about how things are going to be when they move in together. But before they got into that, he let her know, you're very passive aggressive today, and I didn't appreciate that. If you're upset about something, if I made you mad, just tell me, just talk to me. And so I guess she understood. Then she says to him that, when they move in together, he needs to understand that when she comes home from work, She doesn't want to be bothered. She wants to be left alone for a good 30 minutes. And I don't think he really cared for that because he wants them to communicate. He wants, like, I guess, he's thinking it to himself. He's like, well, my wife is gone all day. And when she comes home, I want to love on her. I want to talk to her. I want to be with her. But she told him, I need time by myself just for 30 minutes once I walk through that damn door. So then they talk. He tells her, I need you to communicate. If something's bothering you, communicate with me. Just let me know. He said that he's also going to have to know, he wants to know what kind of diet she has. And I was like, what? That was weird. Let me mention this real quick. Let's kind of backtrack. When they were at the group dinner with everybody else, Juan said that during the week he's a workaholic. It's all about work, 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 work. He said he is an army general during the week. He's very regimented. He has a very strict schedule. He works out twice a day. His job is very all-consuming. It's very demanding, and so he has a lot going on. He's very serious, very dedicated, motivated, committed to his work. And Keisha Napoleon said to him at the after party, so if you are like this workhorse during the week and you work out 2 times a day, when are you going to have time for Karla? So he kind of thought about it and he was like, yeah, you're right. I need to loosen up a little bit. So he understood that. I really like Juan. And he also said that he wants a wife that's like, a boss wife. I'm not going to use the other word that would make more sense. But he wants a woman that's like, taking care of business as well. And to me, Karla just doesn't come across like that. He's very regimented. He sticks to a very strict schedule. Karla isn't like that. She's like go with the flow kind of thing. So that might work out. Their yin and yang might actually go really well together. So who knows? We'll see. Madison and Allan. So they go to a spiritual cleansing. They had to place hands on each other's chest, and the spiritual leader or the shaman did this cleansing thing on. I didn't understand. I didn't understand anything that the shaman said. So I'm not even going to pretend like I knew what the hell was going on and what she told them and what advice she gave them. So at the group dinner, she brings up his clothes again. Um, because they're talking about, when we go back home to Chicago, it's probably going to be the little things that are going to like make or break this relationship. So she mentioned his clothes. And then he mentioned something like, when he wakes up in the morning, he coughs a lot. He has a lot of congestion or whatever. And he's like, yeah, that's probably going to piss you off because I'm going to be coughing a lot. I'm going to be hacking in the every morning. And Camille says something about phlegm. She says something like, yeah, you're trying to get all that phlegm out. And Allan was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then Madison says, Allan, I'm trying to eat. We're eating over here. Allan didn't bring up the phlegm. Camille did. Get off that man's back. So the next day, he found out that one of his friends passed away, or the night before, he found out that one of his friends had passed away. So she was really there for him. She's very supportive. He acknowledged that. He even told her, I really do appreciate you being very supportive in this really difficult time for me. And she was like, yeah, don't worry about that. They talk about living together in Chicago, and she says that she has never lived with a man. I forgot about that. She has never lived with a man. Okay, so these men that you keep referring to, Madison, these metrosexual men who take a very good care of themselves, who know how to dress, who work out all the time, who are very lean and buff and toned up. Not a single one of them wanted to live with you. Do you want to expound on that? Do you know why? Why didn't these beautiful, muscular, metrosexual men who are exactly your type, why didn't they want to live with you? They say that on paper, they should work out. They keep on talking about it. On paper, we're really good together. So they get back to Chicago, y'all. This is the meat and potatoes of it all. They get back to Chicago. It's their first day back in Chicago. And she sits down with him and she tells him that she wants him to make some changes. She says, I'm really into men who take care of themselves. And so, I would prefer that you work out. I was like, Madison, I'm going to need you to get like a buddy ticket with Michelle. And y'all need to go. Y'all need to go because y'all are really on one, the both of y'all. He she says, I'm used to men who really take care of themselves. So I would like for you to work out. Why do you assume he doesn't take care of himself? He's not overweight or obese or anything like that. He's not like, dangerously thin. Like, what are you talking about? Just because he's not muscly and roided out and, like these men who, you're used to, these men that you are drawn to, these men that you consider very much your type because that's what they do. That's what you're attracted to. You're automatically assuming that this man doesn't take care of himself and he needs to look like that. And then she also tells him that she wants him to change his style of clothes. And Alan took it all in stride. Alan was like, okay, yeah, whatever. He wasn't offended. He didn't get upset with her. He didn't argue with her. He was like, sure. And I was like, Madison, you are so superficial. You are so. And then, okay, first of all, the thing about the clothes, she gets on his case about his clothes several times. She has talked about this man's clothes. Where's your Yves Saint Laurent? Where's your Prada? Where the hell is your Fendi, your Gucci? Okay, where are your Oscar de la Renta gowns? Because girl, every time we see you, you're in something basic as hell. At least he's got some kind of style. Okay, it might not be our style, your style, my style. It's eclectic. It's him. It defines him as a person. It's his own unique thing. He makes it interesting. You're basic Walmart clearance type of outfits. Like, I'm not understanding like why you think you have the authority to tell someone else, another grown adult who's been dressing themselves all their lives. He buys his own clothes with his own money. I don't understand where you get off telling him he needs to change his style. And then you want him to work out and all of this. You want him to be, as buff and as square shaped as you are. Like, I'm not understanding. How dare you, Madison? How dare you? So after they have that conversation, we see the living room cam. Whenever we see the living room cam, something's about to go down. That's not going to be nice. So what happened that night, their very first night back in Chicago, she takes off. Their first night in that apartment together as a married couple, she says she's going out for drinks. And she told him, like, don't wait up. I'm going to be gone for a while or something like that. And he was left alone. Now, at the after party, he tells us that he ended up going to the rooftop hot tub. He met a couple of German ladies there, like nothing, nefarious. I guess some neighbors or whatever. They're also out there. And he ended up just, uh, chatting it up with them, spending time with them. And he said that she was gone for hours. Their very first night back, Madison is gone. She couldn't even make it a full 24 hours in their new apartment together. She was out of there. And then at the after party, Keisha Napoleon was kind of like, I don't know if she was trying to imply that she went back to her apartment, because they were talking about how, this process is very difficult. And it seemed like the first night back, she bailed to go be around something that was more familiar with her. Like she went back home to her apartment or something. I don't know. The girl said she was going out for drinks. Like she was going to go out for happy hour. I don't think she went back to her apartment. She went out for drinks with who? Who knows? I hope it wasn't with David. I hope she didn't go out for drinks with David, because David's struggling in his marriage. She's struggling in hers. I hope they don't think it's cute for them to meet up for drinks together, because at the after party, obviously, Madison wasn't at the after party, so we don't know who she went with. But Camille didn't make it seem like the girls got together that night to go out for drinks together. So I don't know where the hell Madison went, who she went with. And at the after party, Alan seemed kind of like he has seen Madison for what she is, and he's not tripping over her. That's how he seemed like at the after party. Like, the rose-colored glasses are off. He's seeing her for exactly who she is, and he ain't tripping over her. That's what it seemed like. Or maybe he's putting up a front like he doesn't care, but maybe he's really hurt. But that was foul, and that was wrong for her to do that. Y'all just got married. Y'all moved into y'all's apartment together. Kudos for both of y'all staying in the apartment. Neither one of y'all have left yet, but still, Madison, that was just foul for you to leave your husband to go out for drinks. with somebody else or with other people, wherever the hell you went. It's looking very suspicious. And that is my review. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. Today is Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And let's all meet back here, hopefully on Friday, for Life After Lockup. And don't forget to rate the video. And I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.